Happy Friday. Welcome into the show. Hope everyone's having a great day and ready for a great weekend. Brendan Glasheen, Jeff Ulrich, Matt LaMarca, three-man booth, three-man crew to take you into the weekend. This is The Slate. We are a DraftKings show. We take you up until just about 6 o'clock, talking all things today. I mean, it's a leave it all out there Friday. Plenty to dive into. Couple slates. We've got the Players' Championship that is underway. We can get thoughts from Jeff. Baseball regular season approaching. The WBC's going on. We got the NBA slate tonight. LaMarca, not crazy about this one, but come on. LaMarca might have an angle or two. And
Sure.
Of course, there's a couple hockey games tonight. Maybe we can dive into that too. We got the NFL odds and lines up as well. I will like to mention congratulations, Massachusetts, for officially becoming legal. Sports betting is now legal in Massachusetts. The online portion launched this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you are looking for content on that, you can go find our friend Julian Edlow with a bunch of confetti and balloons. And he's got a bunch of attire on now. So yeah, yay, Massachusetts. And that's important because DraftKings HQ is in Boston. So congratulations, Massachusetts. Where shall we start? I would like to just begin just for a couple minutes on LaMarca's latest thoughts on Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. The Jets are at plus 1,800 to win the Super Bowl. The quarterback shoes are dropping as far as what the market looks like. We still have to find out about Jimmy Garoppolo and his free agent prospects and where he might go. LaMarca, want to begin with is this real? We have breaking. Forget that. We have breaking news.
Wow.
From Adam Schefter.
Wow. Okay.
We just got a half-hour show right here, folks. Here we go. Adam Schefter. Breaking news: the Chicago Bears. This had been a rumor earlier in the week, and really since the end of February. The Bears were leaning towards. That was the direct quote. Leaning towards trading the number 1 overall pick. The Carolina Panthers are on the clock now with the number 1 pick in the NFL draft at the end of April. Here is the compensation. Sure, I can do that. The production crew is asking me to share this wonderful tweet live on my feed. And there it is. Tom, good luck trying to, frame this sucker. It's a lot. So, Bears trade number 1 pick to Carolina. So the Carolina Panthers to get number 1, they give the Bears the 9th overall pick number 61, which is a late 3rd, I think. That adds up.
It's a late 2.
A late 2, yes, pardon me. 30 teams times 2 in the 60s.
32
Got
teams.
it. 32 teams. Thank you. Thank you, LaMarca. Math on the air. Late 2nd, a future 1st in 2024, a 2nd in 2025, and DJ Moore. Whoa, that is a haul.
Big haul.
That
2024 haul. First could be another top 5 pick.
It could be. Yeah, could. Carolina's in a weak division, but there's a lot to break down here. That's definitely one of the points, but I'll be dead honest.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I like it from both perspectives. I really do. I think this makes a lot of sense to both teams. Carolina, what else are they going to do, man? Like, they need to do this. You got to invest in the quarterback position. Absolutely. You need the rookie. What have we seen? We've seen Joe Burrow on a rookie contract. What did we see last year? Jalen Hurts on a rookie contract. Take the path that is successful and building your team like that. Invest in these quarterbacks that can win you games. There's a couple guys out there, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Do it. Maybe even A-Rich. So I like it. And look, the Bears, yes, take the haul, man. Absolutely. Love this for the Bears. Like it more for the Bears even. You got Fields. He doesn't need to be Joe Montana. He just needs to be Justin Fields, an elite runner out of the backfield. Build around him. Get DJ Moore. Get all these picks that are going to be able to build out with elite players, man. Yeah, I love this.
I'm a big fan of the DJ Moore part of this trade.
Yeah.
I think that it might go a little bit under the radar just because DJ Moore did not have a good year.
I didn't see it when I first looked at the trade, LaMarca. I thought it was just picks, and then
they buried DJ Moore at the bottom.
Okay, this is hot.
So yeah, Moore had only 888 receiving yards last year, but the Panthers were maybe the worst passing attack in the league. By the end of the year, they weren't even trying to pass. They were running the ball like 60+% of the time. So the fact that Moore's numbers were down, not all that surprising. He had at least 1100 receiving yards each of the previous 3 years. I think that this is ideal for Justin Fields. This is a legit, not a top flight receiver, but he's good enough to be your number one guy. And when you pair him now with Darnell Mooney and with Chase Claypool, like now we're starting to get the makings of some pass catchers for the Bears. And I think that really frees them up, that they don't necessarily have to look at drafting a receiver in the first round, right? Like they can focus on their defense, which was dreadful last year. And is really where they need more help than any other area. So they can kind of, a lot of times you'll see teams with, young quarterbacks, they try to draft weapons for them. I don't think that the Bears need to go that route because they now have DJ Moore in the building. So I think that was also a really nice addition, especially when combined with all the draft capital.
And you enter for Justin Fields that pivotal year 3 where you have that option at the end of the year to pick up the option on that rookie contract. It is a 5-year deal. He's got the 5th-year option, but year 3 is important because you find out if you want to give, just go right down the list of previous quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, the cream of the crop, or do you want to give your star young quarterback, if he takes advantage, of course, of all this and he has a legitimate receiving core now, do they give him that contract extension and hold on to Fields as the future? Do we think so? Jeff, you give the Carolina perspective. You like this for Carolina too. Now, I got to go there. Is it Bryce Young? Is it CJ Stroud? What direction would you go in if you're the Panthers?
I mean, look, I'm not going to pretend like I'm some QB whisperer or something. I think they'll go with Stroud. I really do. He had just a fantastic You could not have asked for a better combine. Just looks so smooth out there. I think there's a lot of athletic ability as well that's untapped with him. I think that's kind of the guy that's hot, and I think that's kind of maybe what tipped their scales. Again, I'm just guessing. I'm not some insider, nor should you just be, like, Jeff says it's Stroud, bet Stroud or something, but that is certainly where I'd be looking. I think that he is the name that has been causing teams like Carolina and the Colts to really be like, okay, we got to make a move up because this guy is legit. And I mean, it makes sense to me. I think Bryce Young is going to be just fine too. And maybe it is Bryce Young. But to me, I think it's Stroud that they're trying to move up for. So I'm just playing the guessing game of what's happened over the last couple of weeks. To me, the Panthers are moving up for Stroud. Will I be shocked if it's Bryce Young? I won't be shocked at all if it's Bryce Young, because I think that they're both really good, potential number 1 overall picks. I would be surprised if it was Anthony Richardson. Now that is definitely in the realm of possibility too, because you don't get freak athletes like this coming along anytime, but having kind of dove in and looked at his overall college stuff, there's a lot of technical concerns, like potentially coming with Richardson, what he can do from the pocket. So I think it's Stroud. Well, it could be either or, Young or Stroud.
So I'll say that if it is not Stroud, I think it's Anthony Richardson. Those are the two guys that I've heard that the Panthers prefer. I don't think Bryce is really a guy that Carolina has a ton of interest in right now. So in the betting markets, like there's a lot of states, my own state included New York, where this stuff you can't bet on, but if you can bet on who would be the first pick,
which I will mention, that is now off the board. Coming to you from someone who is in Mass. There is no of it. The only thing you can do now from a draft perspective, the first thing that pops up is first receiver selected. No quarterbacks.
I would be leaning heavily towards CJ Stroud being the first pick.
All right. What about from a future perspective? And I'm going to slide the odds back up because I think that's worth discussing. The Bears are plus 8,000. And look, I know it sounds insane to talk Super Bowl odds, but I mean, You're getting them at 80-1 right now. If Fields can play, is that a price that makes sense despite this haul and going with Fields and more? Lamarca, you're grinning. Am I crazy?
I've been harping on the Bears all off season. I've
Yeah,
talked
I agree.
times about how 80-1 is a good number for them. When I see Justin Fields, I really think that a Jalen Hurts type year 3 breakout is not out of the question. And they now have a number 1 receiver. They have 2 first-round picks still. You know, granted, they no longer have the number 1 pick, but they have 2 first-round picks, and they have $100 million in cap space. Well, probably a little bit less now that they've taken on DJ Moore, but you get what I'm saying. This team has the room to add a ton of talent over the next couple of months
and
between
let's not
the draft
forget,
and free agency.
like they got more, but like Darnell Mooney is still a thing. Chase Claypool is there. He's not going to be the number 1 anymore, so you know he's going to be semi-useful. I mean, the team has Cole Kmet. Like they can really just kind of start to plug holes. Like they've kind of taken care of a couple things with this, man. Like it's really interesting. I mean, if they can go all in on some defensive guys here, or maybe pull off something else. I mean, it is conceivable that this team like wins the NFC, the NFC North. Like absolutely on the table. So yeah, I mean, that is something that you can do right now and be actionable with. Getting some Bears futures, man.
Bears at plus 350. That number has shrunk considerably. Now look at all of this. I mean, the Lions are another favorite. Now this has something to do with Aaron Rodgers too. If they do indeed,
Lions are going to be good too. Like it's going to be no cakewalk there, but I mean, like, you know, I would have no problem taking on the Packers or the Vikings next year. Vikings going to have the division winner schedule. Packers going to be starting Jordan Love, who I also actually think is going to be good, but you know, obviously up for grabs.
And at 9, they could at 61 and 9, they could go offensive line. I would imagine they're going to spend some of these picks on the O-line to give the quarterback protection.
Some pretty good cornerbacks in this draft too. I mean, tight end, quarterback to the deeper positions. I wouldn't be shocked to see him select a couple cornerbacks. So
I guess it's not as, of course, I guess it is clear that we don't know. And as Jeff said, I would agree. I'm no quarterback whisperer either, but what about Carolina's prospects they're at plus 2,200 to come out of the conference. Say again.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
I get that they have an easier schedule than the Bears, but I don't know how you could look at that team and say, yeah, they're better, right? They're going to have a complete unknown at quarterback. They just traded away within the past 12 months their 2 best offensive players from a skill position standpoint. Yeah, they won some games down the stretch, but they did it with, you know, bully ball rushing attack and defense. And we know that year to year, that kind of stuff isn't very sticky. Like I said earlier, it would not shock me if the Panthers are the worst team in football next year.
I wouldn't go that far. They have a pretty solid defense. Like they have some pretty good young players, and Frank Reich's a pretty good coach. I don't think that. Are they even good at like the Buccaneers don't have a quarterback yet? I mean, I don't know. I'm not rushing out to bet like conference champion. I'm certainly not betting them to win the conference.
Okay.
I might take a look at them for the division. I don't think they'll be bad. Frank Reich's probably the best coach in that division.
Yeah, he's done a great job in Indianapolis the last few years.
I mean, look, they made the playoffs. Yeah, like the quarterback personnel change. He didn't necessarily have all to do with that. I think Frank Reich's a pretty solid coach. Yeah, I don't know. That division is so just up for grabs. I don't know. I like the move for Carolina. I do. I know a lot of DJ Moore fans, including Lamarca, it sounds like, are going to be mad. They got rid of DJ Moore. How could they do that? But you know, they could go out and get someone else too. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I like the move from a long-term standpoint. Is next year probably going to be their year? No, they're probably where the Bears are like last year, or maybe a little bit better. I think they're a little bit further along than the Bears because I think their defense is better, certainly better than the Bears was last year.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, it's fair. I mean, I wouldn't be rushing out to bet them either at this point. I thought they were kind of interesting when they had more and a rising defense, but clearly they've given up capital to get Stroud in, which I think makes sense. But no, the Bears are a far better futures target right now. Absolutely.
No doubt. Yeah, there's more value in the Bears, plus 8,000 to come out of to win the Super Bowl, and at plus, I think it was plus 3,000 of the DraftKings sports book to win the NFC. There they are right there, plus 3,000. Also, just a note on DJ Moore, he is under contract through 2025, does have an out after this coming season, has an out going into the 2024 year. So if Moore has a breakout season, that's good news for the Bears, because that would correlate with Justin Fields having a good year. So maybe they get DJ Moore in a sort of a chance to up his stock going into the market if he decides to opt out and get an increase in pay. But if he does not opt out, he is under contract through the 2025 season. Whoa. Here's the talk radio or talk show question. Is this, did the Panthers give up too much? I guess we'll have to find out if Stroud or Bryce Young is any good. That to me, just my question is, whoa, it's a lot.
The answer is it depends on if whoever they draft is good. If you draft a franchise quarterback, it's literally impossible to overpay for them.
Yeah,
I would agree. So if you're just jumping on, the Chicago Bears have traded the number 1 pick to the Carolina Panthers. They give up their 9th overall pick. They give up pick number 61, which is a late second, a 2024 first, and a 2025 second round pick, and DJ Moore. 4 picks and the wide receiver. Does this give you, okay, if the Panthers don't have any value, does this make you feel any better? Because I think Jeff's onto something there. I think Frank Reich is a really good coach, but that won't matter all that much in year 1 if they're in a complete rebuild. Does this give you more confidence in another team? Probably not Tampa. Do you feel better about Derek Carr now and the Saints?
It really feels like the Saints might just win this thing by default. I'm very disappointed that Atlanta has been so adamant about not having interest in Lamar Jackson.
Atlanta, sorry, go ahead, Lamar. Go ahead.
If you look at the quarterbacks in the division, you're going to have Derek Carr for the Saints, who is not who he used to be, but is still, at least an NFL caliber starting quarterback. Then you're going to have 2 complete wild cards with Desmond Ridder and Kyle Trask. And then you'll have whoever the Panthers draft at number 1. And while the Panthers can have a ton of hope about how that will play out in the future, it would not be a shock if whoever they draft struggles right out of the gates. I mean, just look at Trevor Lawrence, a guy who was widely considered one of the best quarterback prospects since, Andrew Luck. And he was pretty awful his first year. So whoever is in Carolina is going to have very little to work with as far as supporting talent. It could be a rough year there. That's the only reason why I'm saying that I'm a little bit scared of what it's going to be like in Carolina. So I think just by default, you kind of have to like the Saints.
I would. I actually, the more I start to look at this, I'm disappointed in Atlanta too, because I was going to just agree with you. It just feels like it was such a natural fit to a guy who wants to run the ball with Arthur Smith, the offense that already had a really great inside the tackles runner that could really benefit in Tyler Algier, really benefit from a guy like Lamar, just making the defense take a step back. And they just didn't go for it. But like Desmond Ridder can run a little too. Like I think Atlanta is probably where I would go here after this news. I was kind of high on Carolina, but again, like everything Matt said is correct. I mean, like it's probably going to be a struggle. Obviously, Stroud or whoever they take isn't going to have the Urban Meyer experience to deal with that Lawrence did. But
fair point.
Yeah, but it's still going to be a struggle. Like they're not going to have a bevy of weapons yet. It's going to be another year for Carolina. I think Atlanta's still interesting. I'm just not sold on the Saints. I kind of got sucked into them last year. Flash probably remembers me talking about them in the offseason. I thought Dennis Allen would do a better job I don't think he's really never had success as a head coach. I'm not going to start trusting him just because Derek Carr's there now all of a sudden. I think Atlanta is the team that's, they look good in spots last year. They need to improve in defense too, but they've got some draft capital. I think Ritter was a fine prospect. I kind of liked him last year. And he's, like I said, he fits the pro game. He can do a little bit of both. He can run a little and he's got a quick release. So I mean, I'm going to see how this plays out and see where Atlanta goes, but that's probably where I'd be leaning. This division is, I probably said this before, but like this feels like the worst division in a long time. Man, I'm talking about Derek Carr.
You thought it was bad last year.
Yeah.
Now let's take Tom Brady out,
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I feel like I haven't said in a year. Adam Kaufman is in the chat and he says, first he says hi. Secondly, here's the takeaway from him. It's a great point. How much did the Texans screw this up? Because, the Bears should really thank Lovie Smith for this particular haul. Because
no, absolutely right. Yeah, that's what a ridiculous game.
Maybe don't come out and tell him that he's going to lose his job at the end of the year before the season's over.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe figure that out if you're the Texans owner, so that, he doesn't have the team running through brick walls to win the game. You don't have to guarantee a win or break the rules, but maybe just,
Is there any chance that Carolina flips the first pick? Any chance at all? Or is this they're taking a quarter?
Why would they? What are you talking about? Why would they do that?
I don't know.
The only scenario that's even plausible is if they start blowing smoke about
Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And
they try to trick the Texans into moving up one spot.
Yeah.
That's the only situation that makes any sense to me. And I still would give that a 1% chance.
Yeah, because Houston will just be like, fine, take him, And right. Houston really wants Bryce Young, but you know what? I think Houston also knows Stroud is really good too. And they'll probably just be like, you know what? We're not going to give you a pick just because you're trying to be sneaky. So it's less than 1%, I would say, of happening.
Well, the Bears could get creative too if they would if they want to get more picks.
I'd be less surprised if they traded down again. They've already talked about potentially trading down twice in the first round. Now I think they went back a little bit further than they were probably anticipating.
Mm-hmm.
If they had traded back to 4 and gotten the Colts pick, then I think they would have looked to trade down again from there. But at 9, they might just want to pick a player.
Well, and they
really need good players on their defense.
Let's not forget, guys, there's 4 legit quarterbacks here. Is someone going to move up with Arizona next to get Richardson or something? Or, the Kentucky friend there, Mr.
Levis.
Mr. Levis. Yeah. So, Indy's there at 4. They look like they're going to be stuck choosing between one of those two, but does somebody try and jump ahead of Indy and get their guy? I think that's where the commotion's going to be now. There's certainly other QB needy teams in the league. Washington, Tampa, Baltimore, maybe. There's potential there. So yeah, San Francisco hasn't drafted a quarterback in the first round for a whole year. Maybe they'll do it again.
Hey, moving up to 3. It's worked for them in the past. Oh, wait.
True. Yeah.
Well, you're willing to say they missed on that, not an incomplete.
No, absolutely not. I was actually, I was thinking about this the other day, and I think that the 49ers are in an extremely enviable position at the quarterback position.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
On one hand, you've got Trey Lance, which is this Ferrari, right? And if you can ever get that thing going on full speed, it's going to be scary how good that team can be. But the thing about Ferraris is sometimes they break down, right? And Lance has spent a lot of time in the mechanic shop recently. But the good news is you got a nice 4-door Honda Civic in the garage waiting for you if you need it. And that's exactly what Brock Purdy is. So I think the 49ers are fine from a quarterback perspective.
Yeah, and then if you just need to go to the store, you just jump on the the scooter with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like the electric scooter. So he's going to be gone though. But yeah, it's a great point. It's a great example. San Francisco's a great example why every team should be investing in the quarterback position in some way, shape, or form every year. Whether it's a 7th round pick, whether it's like a 4th round pick, whether it's getting your guy and trying to make a home run, like you should teams should never stop. I mean, it's signing a free agent. Like you need to have more than one capable quarterback on your roster.
Even if Purdy
Jeff did say that all along end of last summer when we were trying to figure out Lance versus Garoppolo, and when Lance went down, Jeff's like, well, hey, they've got the best situation going. Jimmy Garoppolo.
I didn't even know they had drafted Brock Purdy at that point when I was saying that stuff. I didn't even know who Brock Purdy was at that point.
Even if Purdy only is a backup, I think that, like the price of everything in the NFL is going up. Like there are backup quarterbacks now that are going to cost you, $7 to $10 million a year. Having a guy like Purdy who can run your offense and I'm sure is on a minimum contract, like that's value right there.
I guess where it gets, I'm jumping through a bunch of hoops right now, where it could get complicated for the Bears is if the big if is if Fields can play. And if he doesn't have success with DJ Moore and whatever they add, they're going to run into a problem that maybe now Fields has, for the most part, stayed healthy. He just hasn't performed all that well. They're going to run into the same problem that the Ravens are having, are they going to be willing to give the contract? So I guess it's like, could the Bears have traded one to Baltimore to go get Lamar, or traded Fields and a couple of picks to go get Lamar Jackson? You follow me? So if Fields plays well, the inevitable is they're going to have to give Fields a contract about the same, if not more, as the salary cap continues to grow.
Sure. That's still a few years away.
Yeah.
And I think, as Jeff and I have harped on numerous times, like if Justin Fields is good, the upside of paying him on a rookie deal far outweighs paying a guy like Lamar Jackson $50 million plus a year, right? Like it's just your upside as a team is higher. And I talked about it on Tuesday. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's one of the 5 to 10 best quarterbacks in football. And if I was running a team, and I needed a quarterback, I would be doing everything possible to go get him. But I believe in Justin Fields. We need to see a little bit more progression as a passer, but again, I just think the upside of him on such a cheap deal, like the ceiling for that Bears team, if he pans out, which is still an if, it's huge. It's Super Bowl winning, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the thing for the Bears too is like they now have 2 or 3 years to build a team because they have their quarterback on a cheap roster. So, like this is the thing with the NFL that people know is like you have to build your team before you pay your quarterback. At least in my opinion, you do, because if you just pay a quarterback, you end up with just it's like having a head with no skeleton. Like it's just
unless that quarterback is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, unless it's Patrick Mahomes, who and again, like having a coach like Andy Reid is also very beneficial. So, but not many teams have a Mahomes and a Reid, right, to work with. So even the Eagles, I mean, like Sirianni was good. They had some good DC and OCs, but they still got beat by, in my opinion, like the best head coach quarterback combo potentially in like the last 20 years. So outside of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but
good job, Jeff.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna. The Patriots fan, I could hear them fuming like before I even finished the sentence. Yeah, but I still think the best way for most NFL teams to build a team is to try and forego like forking over a ton of money for the quarterback. Lamar is it's weird because he's 26, and like if you're going to fork it over, it should be for a 26-year-old instead of like a 36-year-old like Russell.
A 26-year-old former MVP.
Yeah. So I like if anyone's gonna do it, yes, it should be for Lamar. But this is why I like this move for Carolina. I'd rather they go out and do this as a fan and as just someone like who analyzes the NFL than pay up for Lamar this year. I think it's a better long-term move for them. I think they have a better chance of being really good, not next year, but the years after, potentially 2, 3, 4 years of really good rather than just signing Lamar and, trying to figure things out with the rest of it. It's just teams just aren't good at figuring it out. Like it's hard. So build your team, get a bunch of draft capital like the Jets. Jets are a great example. Jets are good now. Now they can go out and get their quarterback because they built it all. They have everything they need.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes.
Any other
yes. Jets fans?
anything else you guys can pick apart from this that comes to mind? Or did we really?
I'm just very interested to see now what happens with the other two quarterbacks. I think
the quarterback dominoes, I was just going to say, are going to be fascinating. How everything falls.
Yeah, because Jimmy Garoppolo, actually, there was a connection between Carolina and Garoppolo, and that's not happening based on this.
I'm interested to see what happens with the other two quarterbacks in the draft. I think you'll see more movement there.
Mm-hmm.
Interested to see who Indianapolis would take if it's just, the draft order stays the same and no one else moves up. Interested to see who tries to go after Anthony Richardson.
I'm taking all Richardson unders, by the way. If you have Anthony Richardson props, all unders. That guy is going to end up in the, I don't know, top 5, I think, more than likely. I think he's clearly past Levis as the next best player.
Let's spend it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's really what I was going to say. Like, Levis was a guy who at one point was in the conversation to be the first pick in the draft.
Yes.
That is long gone.
Yeah.
He is no longer in that top tier of quarterbacks, and Richardson has firmly supplanted him. So, we see this every year. Quarterbacks just rise and rise and rise and rise. So Richardson, while he might have been a guy who was a borderline first round pick a month ago, he's going to be a top 5 pick now.
The NFL draft 2023 number 1 pick draft pick odds are back up on DraftKings, and CJ Stroud is your favorite at -115, Bryce Young -105, Anthony Richardson +300.
I think -115 is a really good price. I would take that. I would hedge it potentially with a little bit of Richardson. But like I said earlier, I don't think that they're really in the market for Bryce Young. I think that this move was made specifically for CJ Stroud, and that if anyone can change their mind, it's going to be the dynamically talented athlete Richardson. I think Young is off the table.
Jeff, anything else before we go?
No. Pretty much in complete agreement. I thought this might be the Colts who did this, but it's not shocked that it's the Panthers. I mean,
all right, very good. Well, there you go. Latch onto this for the weekend and talk about it with your friends, your family, yourself, your significant other. Big trade in the NFL to wrap up another week. Thanks so much to Eamon and Tom. Tom, good job getting that tweet up on the stream. The Schefter bomb that we just
shout
read.
Out to the Panthers and Bears. We thought this was going to be a kind of a boring show, and they just dropped this to us like manna from heaven.
Right when we went on too. It's not like we went on at like 20 past. Like, all right, LaMarco, what do you like tonight? No, we got a bomb. That was good. So thanks to Eamon and Tom. For Jeff Ulrich, Matt LaMarca, Brendan Glasheen. Again, congratulations, Massachusetts. Sports betting is now legal in the Bay State. Enjoy it. And we'll be, I'm sure on Monday, when we've got programming back, we'll be picking this trade apart. Who knows? We might get more quarterback dominoes to fall. You all have a great weekend. Thanks for watching The Slate, and we'll talk to you again soon.